Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to do a reading on 1122 King Road, which is the house that the four murdered students from Idaho were living in at the time of their death. Madison Mogan, Kaylee Gonzalez, Ethan Chapin, and Zana Kernodle were living in this house when they were murdered by someone. What's interesting is that the house, which is the largest crime scene, was torn down on December the 28th, 2023, which I feel like is unusual. There's been, I guess, theories or reasons given that the house was full of asbestos was one of the reasons one of the reasons I heard. I feel like the real reason why the house is being torn down has not been spoken about. So this reading today is going to be about the real reason why they tore down 1122 King Road before the trial, which is set for summer 2024. So let's look at the bottom of the deck. Sacrifice in reverse. So that makes me feel like the university doesn't want that house standing as a reminder of the murder. They don't want students to feel unsafe. And that house standing there was just a daily reminder that you could go to university and get murdered, basically. So I'm just going to shuffle and get started. Yeah, look at awareness in reverse and sacrifice. A constant reminder of the crime. The university just wants it to become a distant memory. Positive movement forward in reverse and awareness. As long as that house was standing, the community, particularly the students at the University of Idaho, cannot move on. That's the rationale that's given. Destiny in reverse. Positive movement forward. I'm getting like the feeling that I'm getting from these cards is about Brian Kohlberger. It's like the house is not standing, and therefore it's like you can't find the evidence now. It's like the unknown stays the unknown now that the house is gone. gone, it's like, it's almost like your destiny is now sealed now that that house is gone. Wait, that doesn't feel right. It's the feeling I'm getting is like now there is definitely reasonable doubt because the proof is gone. All the jurors are gonna think about is what could have been in that house that was torn down, that was missed, which creates reasonable doubt. Was that done on purpose? Was that done on purpose? Partnerships and alliances in reverse. Oh my god, material harvest in reverse. It's like it's prevention of knowing who was actually present at the time of the crime. Wow. There's like something happening that's hand in hand. It's like the university is giving their reason, but it's in conjunction with something else. Triumph. Like, this card just made me feel like so someone can get away. The house was demolished in order to prevent I just heard the truth coming out of who was present at the scene of the crime at the time of the murder. Why? It's like I'm being bombarded with info. Trapped in fear in reverse and light. When that house came down, someone who was fearful of being caught, I'm also feeling like Brian Kohlberger himself was relieved. When that house came down, the perpetrators and Brian Kohlberger, who has been arrested for the crime, feel relief. Because I feel like that was like their one big worry, was that evidence would be found in the house that would implicate them. And now that the house is gone, they feel relief. They can move in their life a little easier. The feeling that I get is that there are people that are involved in this crime that are not even on the radar. Like, we have our main, cast of characters that are involved in the crime, such as the roommates, the boyfriends, But the feeling I get is like there are people involved in this crime that haven't even been spoken about. And they've been in the background full of fear that they're gonna get busted. That's interesting. Foundation and achievements. Look, see how that's a house? Passion ignited. The feeling that I just get about this is like the house is just an eyesore. It sparked, every time people would look at it, they'd think of the murder and become upset. The house had to go for that reason, but below the surface, it's like the house for the perpetrators of the crime held evidence that will never be discovered now. And there's relief because of that. But it's like, is the college, I think it's the university involved in that? Like, they're giving their outward excuse, but are they actually protecting someone? I just heard their reputation. I feel like it's not so much they're protecting someone like influential, they're more so protecting their reputation as a university. If their university becomes a place that is forever known as the place where students get killed, they are going to lose money. No one is going to want to go there. Balance. Authority first. I feel like that's more like advice. It's like you can't control people's emotional response. The house is gone, but people are not going to forget what happened there. So it's almost like you cannot alter people's memories, so to leave the house up until the trial is not going to make a difference, because what has happened there is seared in people's memories, whether the house is standing or not. Stand your ground. Oh. Stand your ground. Bottom of the deck. Balance. The feeling that I get is that there should have been more fight, I guess you could say, to keep that house standing. Particularly by Brian Kohlberger's camp. But the feeling that I got, and I'm getting, and that came out earlier, is like that house coming down creates an immense amount of reasonable doubt. So as much as it's as crazy as it sounds, that house coming down is actually a benefit to Brian Kohlberger. Which is really interesting. Okay, let's keep going. sacral chakra. Oh, all these chakras are coming out. Heart chakra. I don't know if I showed this one well enough. Okay. And oh my god, throat chakra. What in the world? Yeah, let's keep going. Conflict and defeat. Or despair, sorry. Conflict and defeat. The feeling that I'm getting is like Ann Taylor. The feeling I'm getting is like she is very. I just heard the word combative. So typically she would have fought very hard to keep that house standing. But again, that house coming down is something that she can use as a defense. So I just keep hearing her saying, well, if you had left the house standing, then maybe we would know that information. Like, actually, the house coming down is a plus for the defense. Oh, there's something about romance. Light. There's something about a romance that's gonna come to light. What does that have to do with the house? I'm not sure about that. Moving on. This is like the community needs to move on. People need to get on with their lives and forget about the horrific tragedy that has occurred. These cards I don't understand. The feeling I'm getting through these cards is like there's going to be some sort of revelation that is going to come to light about that house. The feeling I get is that like it has to do with romance. There's some sort of romantic relationship that is going to be revealed in trial. Shadow. Yeah, like this house coming down has like it's pushing some narrative that Ann Taylor's trying to push. It's hidden though. Like there's something. What is it? Material and spiritual prosperity. Just felt drugs coming through here. It's like I want to reveal about the drugs. I think that's another blot on the university's reputation. I feel very strongly that drugs were being dealt out of 1122 Moscow, and that is something that the university does not want as part of their reputation. They don't want to be known as a party school where you know are. So to tear down the house is, in a sense, just an attempt to destroy that part of the story. But 1122 King was definitely, there was something nefarious going on in that house. 100%. That has to do with money. Patience and planning. Yeah, these cards down here are just the narrative they're pushing. It's like, we're moving on, we're tearing down this house because, it's a step towards healing. Of course, it's going to take time, but, yada, yada, yada. Foundation and achievement. Yeah. This house, there are things about this house that are not known. Like, I think it's even darker than we think. And I think tearing down the house was an attempt to, again, destroy the history that belongs to that house. I'm telling you, that house is not a good house. There is, like, again, nefarious history behind this house that before the murders, I feel like that is why the police were saying we don't know if it was the people in the house or the house itself. There's something here about this house. The house had a bad history, and I feel like it's going to come out in trial. And that's why they want to destroy it, because it helps the defense. Whatever the history is, which is negative, helps the defense. Like, this was a house where such and such and such and such were happening. How can you say it's my client, Brian Kohlberger, when all this negative stuff was happening around this house? There's a multitude of suspects because of this. Intuition. It's like we all know. That's what I got. We all know that there was something up with that house. And not just the murders. There was something going on in that house that was truly negative. And I feel like everyone knows it. It was like the murders were a culmination of all of that coming to a head. And I feel like everyone in the situation knows that. This is what was negative about the house. There was negative money, but also like It's almost like a negative, like, vibe. You know what I mean? Like a negative aura, like emanating from that house. Like bad things, I feel like, were happening in that house before the murder. Yeah, this is like the bottom row is just like, we gotta move on and heal, blah blah blah. But I feel like they're trying to hide something about this house. And I feel like it's gonna come up in trial about what was truly going on in that house. Harmony. Ooh, that made me feel like prostitution. This also made me feel like conflict between roommates. Something is not... There's also some sort of romantic relationship, and I've gotten this before, that was not good. But the feeling I'm getting is like prostitution. Prosperity begins. Again, another money reference to this house. Oh my god. Okay. Accelerated motion to try and move on as fast as possible. Memories of love. The feeling that I'm getting of these two cards is that there was like, I think there was like prostitution happening in this house. And it's gonna come out in trial. Oh my god, partnerships and alliances. Prosperity begins, partnerships and alliances. There's something about a romantic relationship. But not just that, there was like prostitution happening in this house. Like there was so much happening in this house, and everybody knows it. Positive movement forward, yeah. Okay. Why was this house, what was the real reason why 1122 King Road was torn down before the trial even begins? The reason is because there was nefarious activities happening in that house, and the University of Idaho is trying to hide it. I feel like there was prostitution happening in that house. And I feel like it was even before the murder. Like, even before the occupants that are living in that house now. There's also something about a relationship, romantic relationship, that's being hidden. With who? I don't know. Oh my lord. There's so much. I think that, like, someone. There's a lot being hidden about this house. Like, I'm getting prostitution, I'm getting frats. Like the relationship between frats and sororities. Fraternities and sororities, the relationship between the two. Oh my god, I know what it's saying. It's like there was prostitution happening in this house, so what's not to say that it couldn't have been one of the so-called customers who got upset and came back and snapped, or like a defense. It's like a defense that creates reasonable doubt. So the feeling I'm getting is like Ann Taylor can say, how can you say it's Brian Kohlberger when this house, is full of secrets? For example, prostitution. I feel like this is also Ann Taylor is gonna just love to reveal these secrets about this house, because I feel like she's sick of pretending that everyone that was living in 1122 King Road was a saint, because in her opinion that is not the case. And everybody knows it. Everyone in the community knows it. And I just heard she's a reveler of the truth. Like, there's something about her that likes for, like, saying out loud what other people are thinking. But there was stuff going down in that house that was illegal. Prostitution, drugs. The university does not want that blot on their reputation, and that's why they are talking about healing and moving forward and as fast as possible. Yeah. So I feel like there's going to be a lot of stuff coming out in trial that is unexpected. And one of them I feel like is going to be prostitution. About prostitution happening in that house. And I feel like it's going to be used as a defense. Because if this is a house of prostitution, it could be anybody. And the reasons could be numerous. And I feel like Ann Taylor is just going to have a heyday with it. And the interesting thing is everyone in the Idaho community knows what was going on in that house. So I feel like for the residents of Idaho, it's not going to be, especially the students, it's not going to be a surprise when this information comes to light. It's gonna be like, finally we can stop acting like a spade is not a spade, so to speak. And I hate to say that, but I mean, the truth is the truth, right? If nefarious things were happening in that house, which I believe they were, along the lines of drugs and prostitution, let's just call it what it is. Yeah, so I'm going to end the reading here. And I'll see you next time.